Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This session focuses on the role of teacher and learner in neuro-linguistic programming. I hope and expect by the end of this session, you would be able to understand the nature of positioning of the learners and teachers in NLP. Well, as far as the role of the teachers in NLP is concerned, they are expected to model their teaching on expert teachers they most admire. So basically, for the teachers, the model is that they would follow their role models. They would follow the teachers that inspired them. As far as the role of learners is concerned, they are expected to find successful models for that person they themselves are striving to become. So for the teachers, what they themselves think are role models as teachers, they are supposed to follow them for teaching purposes. For the learners, whatsoever they want to become, whatsoever they want to be, whosoever they want to be in their lives, whosoever they idealize for themselves, they need to strive to find out successful models from those people. So to be an excellent teacher in NLP, a teacher needs to model excellent teachers. A teacher needs to look at what they do, how they act, what sort of relationship they have with their students and with their colleagues, and then ask how they feel about what they do and what are their beliefs. So not only to follow what the teacher would see in these model teachers, but also to ask them, to be into discussions with them, to have an insight into their sets of beliefs. And then to position them, by imagining what it is like to be them. So these teachers need to imagine themselves in the place of those ideal teachers or model teachers by putting themselves in the shoes of these people. And as you learn techniques and strategies, put them into practice as well. Share modeling strategies with the students. Set the project of modeling good learners. Also, a teacher is expected to encourage them to share and try out strategies that they learn. If you want to speak a language like a native speaker according to NLP, it is important that you model the native speakers. So the ideal of communication in NLP is that you can model the native speaker. NLP teachers seek to apply the principles in their teaching, and this leads to different responses to many classroom events and processes. Also, NLP centers on the need for rapport. This rapport is to be built between, between the teacher and the students, between the student and other students, between the learner of the language and the outer world as well. And for all this, first of all, according to NLP, there is a need to build rapport with yourself. It is very significant that when you are trying to build rapport with others, you do not necessarily have to agree with the values that others have. Simply recognize that they have a right to have them and work within their framework, not against it. Again, what does it mean? You may not necessarily believe in what they believe. You may not agree with what they believe in, but what you need to do is to be in harmony with them and not to be against them. Rillett and Lohan give the following example of how a teacher might apply rapport in responding to the following statements from students. In these examples, S stands for student and T would stand for teacher. So for example, student A. If a student A in the classroom says, "I hate this stuff. It's such a waste of time." And if the teacher wants to establish rapport with this student, the teacher then would respond as teacher A responds, "It's a part of you, is a part of you saying that you want to be sure your time is well spent today." So basically what the teacher is trying to communicate to the student is that if you think that this particular thing or this particular part of some activity is a waste of time, are you trying to convey that the rest of your time was well spent? Another example, this is a statement from student B. Everyone says that. It makes me sick. And if the teacher wants to establish rapport with the student, teacher B says, who says that? Another example of the statement is where student C says, I can't do it. The teacher, in order to establish a rapport with the student, can specify it and may ask, what specifically can't you do? So, these kind of responses by the teacher actually help the learner or the student get clarity. Another statement from a student, that is student D, can be, this is all theory. And in establishing rapport with this kind of student, the teacher could respond, are you saying you want practical suggestions? So, by giving this kind of response, actually, again, the teacher is establishing a rapport with the student and is enabling the student to be clear on when he or she claims or complains that this is all theory, actually, what does he or she want to have? Does she or he want to have some practical suggestions, or it is something else? So the purpose of the teacher in NLP is to establish a rapport with the students to facilitate them.